Alright, what's up everyone? This is Plus. Welcome to another episode of Battling 101 Team Building. Today we have a request for hyper offense. Now you'll see a lot of hyper offenses run a little more formulaic stuff than this, but this is generally one form of hyper offense that I created with one of my 2Ts. We started off with Mega Aerodactyl. Now you obviously don't see a lot of Mega Aerodactyls and overused, but it has its niche. The 150 base speed that Aerodactyl has, the Mega Aerodactyl has, is really helpful. It helps you outspeed stuff like Sceptile, for example, or a Mega Manectric, as well as just fast stuff in general like Gengar or like Keldeos, as well as Starmie's. Starmie's been gaining a lot of usage recently. And, you know, it has Flying Stab, which is always nice to have, even though its Flying Stab is Aerial Ace. The Tough Claws boost that it gets thanks to its ability makes it a little more manageable. This Mega Aerodactyl is more of a cleaning Pokemon, late game kind of cleaner type. It's not something that's supposed to break holes in your teams, and this is why we have it featured in one of our hyper offensive teams. Now, a lot of times you'll see Mega Aerodactyl paired with a Spikes user or Entry Hazards. We're not gonna do anything like that. We're just going to lay the hurt on our opponent. The concept of this team is to just bust holes with the really strong Pokemon, and then have things like Mega Aerodactyl clean late game or with priority. So we're going to start off with Mega Aerodactyl here, and this Mega Aerodactyl is going to be running Stone Edge, Earthquake, Ice Fang, and Aerial Ace. Now, because it has these types of moves, it's going to have a lot of trouble with stuff like just bulky stuff in general. For example, Ferrothorn, right? And then you have stuff like Mega Scissor, obviously, just like those steel types in general. Also, you're gonna have trouble with bulky, just generally bulky stuff. Slowbro will be a nuisance. Venusaur, not so much. I guess Cresselia, you can say. Cresselia is not that common, but still. Clefable, you'll see Cresselia in stall teams a lot actually, but anyways, that's my aside right there. Gliscor, thankfully, because Aerodactyl has Ice Fang, it's not as much of a nuisance, which is great because Gliscor is pretty annoying otherwise. Yeah, that should be about it. I mean, stuff like Metagross is obviously bulky, but we have ways to cover it. So anyways, these bulky Pokemon in general, I guess you could also put Sableye here, right? These bulky Pokemon in general, we're going to have the hard hitters of our team. So we're going to have stuff like Life Orb Bisharp for priority purposes, for knockoff, and just to lay the hurt on offensive teams, as well as Talonflame. We're going to be running Swords Dance Talonflame. Swords Dance Talonflame is just great against opposing teams, especially teams that run Mew, right? A lot of times you'll see Mew run stuff like Will-O-Wisp, Knockoff, and this just gives your Swords Dance Talonflame a perfect opportunity to just come in and set up one Swords Dance. This is great for just breaking holes in your opponent's team. Like maybe you want your Rotom weekend, right? Maybe you want a Rotom weekend, you get a Swords Dance up, you go for Brave Bird, and then the Rotom with Stealth Rocks factored in, it's going to be mad weak, and then you can just finish off your opponent with Aerodactyl late game. So yeah, Bisharp and Talonflame are just like heavy hitters, and then we're also going to add in a Gengar here. Life Orb Gengar with Sludge Wave, Shadow Ball, and Focus Blast. In my opinion, it is one of the most dangerous sweepers in the OU metagame. Now you'll see stuff like Clefable, Slowbro, just stuff like that just get demolished by Life Orb Gengar. So we're going to use these three as our primary sweepers, you know, our quick, speedy sweepers that break holes in our opponent's team. And then we're going to top it off with our support. Now, because Aerodactyl is weak to Stealth Rocks, we're going to need some sort of Entry Hazard removal. And one of my favorite Entry Hazard removal Pokemon in a really offensive build is Healing Wish Latias. Now, Healing Wish Latias helps you, when you identify your win condition late game, then you can use Latias as a way to remove rocks or to just healing wish, and then make sure that your win condition is in and healthy and it has a chance to sweep your opponent for game. So this is a really nice addition to a hyper offensive build. And then we're going to be pairing it with JIRACHI. Now JIRACHI is great because it just has fantastic typing. Yeah, it's weak to ghost and dark type moves, but it's generally okay, as we have Aerodactyl, we have Bisharp, we have that shit to cover it, and it's just a great switch into fairy type moves, to dragon type moves. It's a great pivot, it's a great glue Pokemon, JIRACHI. And we're going to be using Stealth Rocks on JIRACHI, and I'll show you something a little funky in the more detailed version of this build. I'll show you a neat spread that we came up with. So here's the finished product. We have Mega Aerodactyl here with 216 EVs in speed, Jolly Nature, 44 defense, 248 attack EVs. This is the standard Smogon spread. What it essentially does is 216 allows you to outspeed Mega Sceptile and everything below that. That's including like Mega Manectric, for example. Also, the 44 defense EVs that Aerodactyl has, it ensures that you take at least 3 hits from a Choice Band Brave Bird Talonflame. So this is really nice to have, meaning that Aerodactyl at a worst case scenario can switch in if you can't sack for a Choice Band Brave Bird Talonflame. We have Stone Edge, Ice Fang, Aerial Ace, and Earthquake. Then we have Bisharp right here, we have Knockoff, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, Low Kick. Now Low Kick is here because other Bisharp are pretty annoying, and we also, this also helps a lot with bulky Tyranitar. Bulky Tyranitar, it's nothing that Gengar can take out with one hit. I think it survives a Focus Blast, and it survives an Iron Head actually. The really bulky relaxed one with Earthquake and Stealth Rock, that one's pretty annoying to deal with. So we have Low Kick here. We're gonna have Jolly Nature, so you outspeed most Bisharp, since most Bisharp are adamant. So you'll be able to outspeed these other Bisharp, and you'll be able to low kick them. You won't have to, play mind games or whatever. It's a little bit weaker than Adamant, obviously, but that's okay. We used to have Swords Dance in here with an Adamant nature, but since we have Swords Dance Talonflame, I mean, I guess it really isn't too bad. We still have a lot of power, potential power to deal with. We have Brave Bird, Swords Dance, Flare Blitz, and Roost. We have the Sharp Beak to potentially fake the Choice Band, and we have 120 HP on the Talonflame. 120 HP puts Talonflame's health at 327, which is an odd number, which is great because you can switch into Stealth Rocks more than twice. You're not going to be, in the worst case scenario, you're not going to switch into Talonflame, take 50%, and then switch it in again, and then boom, you're dead. You'll be left with at least 1 health point, which is always nice to have. Make sure you do this for like Charizard. Make sure like Volcarona, Charizard, stuff that take 4x damage from Stealth Rock. Make sure that their HP is always at an odd number. For speed, we have 136. This lets it outspeed Thundurus Incarnate, which is very important because once you have the Swords Dance up, Thundurus can try to use Prankster T-Wave to halt your sweep, kind of. And once you have 136 Jolly, it doesn't really matter at this point. You just outspeed the Thundurus, and we all Gucci, right? You just plow through it because Talonflame is a beast. Now we have Gengar, which I mentioned before is one of the most potent sweepers in the overused metagame. Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave. We have Sludge Wave instead of Sludge Bomb because of Chestnut, right? Just bulletproof. Otherwise, I just go for the Sludge Bomb because I like the poison damage. Just some more damage. We have Focus Blast for stuff like Ferrothorn, Heatran, Tyranitar. And then we have Destiny Bond. Now you'll see that 3 attacks Life Orb Gengar. You can run a lot of stuff in the 4th slot. A lot of people run Substitute, a lot of people run Taunt, a lot of people run Giga Drain. I mean, whatever floats your boat. I like using Destiny Bond because of those instances where like you get into a Calm Mind war with something like a Manaphy or something, maybe like a Crocoon, and you just need a free kill in order for you to sweep your opponent's team with something other than Gengar, like a Talonflame, Bisharp, Aerodactyl, you name it. So Destiny Bond is great because not a lot of people expect it, and it gets you a free kill, and if you play your cards right, you can potentially get a 2-for-1 with Gengar. You kill with like a Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Focus Blast, something else, and then you use Destiny Bond, and then everything is just a-okay. Now, another instance in which Destiny Bond is great is when you have to, when you don't want to do prediction wars with Bisharp, with knockoffs and Sucker Punch. Because Destiny Bond, if you use Destiny Bond, well, if your opponent's Bisharp uses knockoff, then they're dead. If they use Sucker Punch, then they're also dead because you can attack them next turn, and if they don't Sucker Punch, then yes, they're dead. Or if they Sucker Punch again, then their health will be drained because of Destiny Bond. So it's just a very nice move to have. Just your preference though, just like use whatever floats your boat. I personally prefer Destiny Bond, but you know, you are free to experiment with this team as you see fit. Now Jirachi is a little funky here. Now we have 108 speed on Jirachi, that lets it outspeed Jolly Breloom, Jolly Sash Breloom, so you can like Iron Head it and just kill it in like 2 hits. Now we have COLBUR Berry on this Jirachi, and COLBUR Berry is a very good item. It's the Dark Resist item, so for stuff like Bisharp, just knockoff Pokemon in general. Knockoff is a very annoying move. It's like a very low risk, high reward move, and you'll see it being spammed a lot. Now our Jirachi is pretty strong, and it doesn't have a lot of bulk, but with COLBUR Berry, you can survive a knockoff and have respectable health left. And another good thing with COLBUR Berry is that it fakes Choice Scarf. You know, when your opponent sees the damage output and then they see, oh, your Jirachi has no leftovers, that's probably a Choice Jirachi, maybe a Choice Scarf Adamant Jirachi or something. That's great for faking. So in this instance, let's say you use Iron Head and then your opponent says, oh, okay, you're probably Scarf. Don't U-turn out of the Pokemon, just perform a hard switch so your opponent is under the impression that you have Choice Scarf. You should look at the video regarding fakes and bluffs. It's in one of the Battling 101 Basics videos that we talk about. This is another example of one of those bluffs. Jirachi is just a great Pokemon to bluff with. And last but not least, we have Latias. Latias is great because it gives us an extra revive, essentially, if we play our Healing Wish right for stuff like Gengar, Talonflame, Aerodactyl, Jirachi, whatever you need in whatever instance. Once you identify your win condition, Healing Wish is just a godsend for your team. We have Defog because obviously Aerodactyl and Talonflame hate Stealth Rocks up, so it's just great if we're planning to sweep with Aerodactyl or Talonflame that we have no rocks on the field, on our side of the field at least, so we can perform the sweep without any hindrances. And that's it for our team. Mega Aerodactyl is a pretty nifty Pokemon. It's very niche, but if you have it in the right situation, it can do a lot of damage, and it can be quite the helpful Pokemon to have thanks to its 150 base speed. Now we're going to be doing a late night laddering session with it that I will upload shortly, so stay tuned.